And we are live. Here's All Access. The riff continues at iHeartMedia.
No, come on.
That's what it says.
Another one?
Yeah, it's been a month now. It's just like death by a million cuts.
I hate to say this, but they really need some new material.
That's funny. Yeah. Oh, there it is. All right. Just showed up at Brad and Britt, so now I am.
It's just like death by a million.
Let me see. Live on Facebook. All right, I'm all shared up. Shared up.
Oh, we're there. Look at that. See?
Look at that.
When I pay attention.
It's crazy. It's crazy what can be done. Welcome to December, everybody. The finish line in the shittiest year of all time.
Oh, hang on. I got a calendar here. Hold it.
You got to flip it?
Yep, here.
Flip your calendar.
Say goodbye to November. Say goodbye to November.
Yeah, and those of you guys who were on No Nut November, you can start nutting now.
Yeah.
I don't know why anybody would do that.
There you go. That wild.
That is some wild stuff right there.
That's just crazy. That's just crazy talk.
All right, I'm ready when you are.
We're going to do some crazy talk today.
But you did see that the press secretary is going to be former Brad and Britt show guest Jen Psaki, right? That's Joe Biden's press secretary.
I couldn't remember whether we had her on or not.
A couple times when she was.
That was before she added a P to the beginning of her name, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. Because she liked to drink sake, and she decided to just go ahead and kind of Greekify it or something. I don't know.
You know what? She'd never heard that joke then, and she's not even heard it now.
Absolutely. You know, when she doesn't do well, they call it a sake bomb. Okay. I'm ready when you are.
Okay. All right. Okay. We ready? Hey, welcome along to the Brad and Brittcast. I'm Brad, and he's Britt. One of those things.
One of those is true.
One of those directions is right. I can't figure this out. I just saw this. You pay attention more to Trump's Twitter feed than I do, but apparently this morning he came out and demanded that the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, call off the two special elections.
Yeah.
It says, you allowed your state to be scammed. We have to check signatures and count signed envelopes against ballots, then call off the election. It won't be needed. We will all win, capital letters win. So the excuse me for using this word, the logic behind this is that since the presidential election day ballots around then and the ones that came in afterwards that were, of course, illegally counted after election day, since those were all tainted, and Trump won back then, even though it's been certified that he didn't win, that his declaration of winning back on election day should count, and therefore the two Senate seats should go to the Republicans. I'm hard pressed to come up with an argument against that. What about you?
No, that sounds right. I'm not aware. Again, I'm not familiar with Georgia law, but I don't think there's a precedent in Georgia law for the governor just to award an election to somebody. I don't know if they have that particular mechanism in the great state of Georgia. Not sure.
Well, apparently, and I know you don't have kids. You didn't play Little League, and you don't have kids in the umpire. The umpire can forfeit the other team and award the game to the other side if they decide that one side has been cheating. And I think that's what Trump is calling for. All right, well, let's just stop that.
Well, the tweet starts out with
he's so far out of options.
Oh, it's nuts. But the tweet starts with the tweet starts with the 2-word statement: "Do something, just do something, Brian Kemp. You have to do something." I mean, that's the insanity of this entire thing.
I just find it, and I ache for my country. I cry for my democracy. I think about all the history courses that I took and the books that I've read about the United States and how, as much of an imperfect country as we are, how many mistakes we make along the way, that we keep trying, but that we have now reached the point where one political party has now painted itself into the corner. We used to talk about how Trump had done this leading up to the election with stupid things, but the Republican Party now is so far painted into the corner.
Willingly. They've walked into this willingly, Brad.
Right. That now they don't know how to get out. And if we can at all give this series of crazy tweets the degree of respect that it deserves, which is none. This sounds to me like the latest lifeline that Donald Trump would like to throw to his party, the Republicans. Of course, he's not really a Republican. He never was. But okay. But he's probably thinking, yeah, all I have to do is say something stupid. It'll get agreed with all over the place. Sean Hannity will say it's a great idea.
Of course.
And then a bunch of Republicans will be asked about it, and they will demur. They will not attack me. They will not say Donald Trump is certifiably insane, should have a white coat put on him, and should be carried out. And he is anti-democratic. He hates America. He's all in for himself. He's afraid he's going to get indicted for 25 different things on the 21st of January. So he will do anything to hold on the power, even if it destroys the United. They can't say any of those things. So they talk around it. They continue to talk around it. I think the new biggest asshole senator of them all, and speaking about this, is the senator from Missouri, Roy Blunt. What a son of a bitch.
Who knew?
Oh, my God.
Who knew?
I knew all the time.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think he's outdone my expectations. That's
he's
for sure.
just dreadful. And we've just reached this point of craziness. But the Republican Party in Georgia, they know that this is depressing turnout. And this isn't a case of, oh, you think it's depressing turnout. Oh, this is going to stoke turnout. Trump's a genius. He knows how to get turnout.
Well, no, he continues. They continue to give the message to the voters in Georgia that they should not vote in this election, that it's been rigged, that they should not go out and vote. There's huge donors to Donald Trump that are telling them not to vote in this January runoff.
Britt, doesn't this series on Tuesday morning underscore that by 50?
Of course.
Because why should I go and vote in an election that Donald Trump said, to use one of his favorite old lines that he's used 5,000 times in 5,000 different cases, shouldn't even be allowed to happen?
Exactly.
Right? No. This election should not even be allowed to happen. So Republicans, I think you can show your disgust for this system by not showing up to vote.
Well, there's a pattern.
Don't you think that that's the only way that they can really make a statement, Britt?
There's a massive pattern. Donald Trump lost absentee ballots in 2020 in the election. And why did he do that? Because he kept telling his people that it was all fixed and they shouldn't do it. And that's why the Democrats crushed them in absentee ballots for a number of reasons. But that's the main reason. And so in this Georgia runoff, he's going to get killed because he told his people not to vote in the election. It was rigged. So when the election comes in and he loses both runoff seats, God, please let it happen, he can then bitch about how rigged it was when he told his people in advance not to vote. I mean, there's an established pattern here. This is not that hard to figure out. I'm not that bright. I'm really not. I went to a mediocre college and I had a mediocre GPA. Anybody can see this. The pattern is very easy to pick out, is it not?
Well, this just takes it to a level that you just didn't think was possible, and we say that every day because it always tops the previous day's craziness. But I don't know, and it's not our job to figure out how the Republicans get out of this, and with a serious, straight face.
Do they want to get out of it?
Of course they do. Do
they want to? Because it doesn't seem that way. It's like the white van was parked by the playground and the kids broke their neck to run in and grab the candy.
No, I disagree. If you could pour truth serum down their throats.
It's too late.
Hang on. If you could pour truth serum down their throats, they would probably make people like you and me look like rookies. They hate Donald Trump so much. They wish he were never born. They wish he were dead. They wish the Republican Party was dead. Finish the bit.
I wish I was dead.
Yes, I know.
That's a rule of threes, everybody.
Right.
That's how you do it.
But they are now caught. And again, we shouldn't, as we indict the party formerly known as the Republican Party, as well deserves to be indicted. Remember, the tens of millions, up to 70 million people who voted for Trump, they are the problem too. They have willingly been led along,
right,
and have never shown the kind of independence. And again, you're not that smart. I'm not that smart.
No,
but honest to goodness, there really is a difference between people who have drunk the Kool-Aid. You know what? I don't want to even allude to who I'm talking about because you never know who's watching or listening.
Oh, I don't. But I don't care.
I know. Well, I know this has not. You don't know
because we're doing it. We're on a podcast.
I know. But I found out over the weekend that someone in my extended family. This is not my brother.
Not a blood relative.
This is not. Well, it is a blood. It's a second level blood.
Oh
relative,
Lord!
But somebody that I know.
Yeah.
Who we've been on Zoom calls with.
Yeah.
A bunch of us. And they were fairly passive. We find out now that this person was a Trumper all along.
How does it feel?
They were afraid to speak up because.
Welcome to the party, Brad.
Right.
Welcome to the party.
Right. And this person is very well educated, has a great job, great career, all those kind of things. And by the way, of all the people that I've found out this fact, it doesn't really bother me.
It's annoying. Is it out of the category of annoying?
You just want to think that people are smart enough not to get taken, which leads us to, and it's funny, as of yesterday, the stories were that Trump had scammed $150 million through all these email solicitations for some phony defense fund, which it doesn't exist at all.
Exactly.
That jump, that's now at 170 and grow. So, as you know, the number one group of people who you think you can go after and steal their money and scam them and rip them off are people who are on that list on the dark web who've already been ripped off, that they pass around and they sell to each other, right?
Yeah.
It's people who
easy marks.
They pay money for phone numbers and social security numbers of people who've already been scammed because they are most likely to, for some reason, be scammed again. Well, if that doesn't describe people who are giving money even now, a month after the election, to Donald Trump for any reason. You've seen some of the emails that they've sent out. These just desperate.
Well, this is the last. Isn't this the last welfare grab for these ne'er-do-well kids? Isn't that what this is?
I believe you are wrong. This is not the last one.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the latest one. I apologize.
It's the latest one, and it's the first one in the post-presidential era. But remember, this is what he did for 40 years before.
It is.
We had a 40-year. We had 4 years as president, and now there's no reason that this isn't going to be the way he conducts the rest of his life. But One thing he is correct about, even in a back-assed way, and I just finished up the Michael Cohen book, and he does go through the whole election week, election night mentality of them absolutely 100% sure that Trump was going to lose.
Right.
They were all set for that, and they really did believe that this was all about the branding, and this would make Donald Trump way more effective as someone who could sell his name and put it on a golf course or a building or some other entity that somebody wanted to rent his name out for. And win the presidency, he didn't think he'd do it. He didn't prepare for it. He didn't assume he would win.
No, it was brand amplification. They just want to amplify that's all they want.
So, all right. So he wins and he fakes it for 4 years. He doesn't read anything. He doesn't read the presidential daily briefing. No. He knows nothing. He still knows nothing after all these years. So at one level, I'm not worried about that story that you've seen a lot the last few weeks of, can we even trust Donald Trump with all the national security secrets after he's out of office? He may sell them to the highest bidder to get himself out from underneath debt. He might not know any secrets. He might know nothing.
Well,
he might know only what he's ever seen discussed on Fox News. And they're not that big on foreign policy and Fox News anyway. But he might know nothing. But
until they move the Israeli embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem.
But that's all he knows.
They pretend to love that shit.
Right.
But no, he's been a willing idiot of people like Stephen Miller and Mnuchin and some of those guys.
Right. But the point is, all right. So 40 years of being a liar and a scamster and the guy that doesn't pay his bills and stiffs the contractors and the rest. 4 years in the White House, coming up with a new way to rip people off and be a grifter and get tax money used to buy thousands of nights of hotel rooms at his properties and profit from the presidency in a way that no other president ever has. By the way, no president ever even thought or dreamed of doing with the presidency what Trump did, which is turned it into a money-making enterprise for 4 years. So now that he's going to be out of office, and he will be, he will go back to what he was doing before. But now he does, admittedly, have the brand cachet in terms of name recognition that he did not have before. But I find it kind of, I don't think that those hotels are going to prosper. I don't think the golf club is going to be anything.
You don't think the Trump America News Network's going to be on 5,000 different cable systems?
No, I don't. And you know what, Britt? We are customers, both you and I, of Spectrum Cable. Yeah. And what is not on Spectrum Cable? Newsmax.
Yeah,
not on there.
But One America is on there, and it's hard to find it. It's up
but you have to pay for it, right?
It's in one of the tiers. It's up there. I mean, I've seen it's horrible. It's really bad.
But you have to pay for it, right?
Mean, eventually they
so
can
it's go. Not right. But so they have no interest in it, and I think. And Trump can file. He'll file lawsuits in about 3 seconds when the first major cable system
and lose them again.
Yeah.
And hopefully he'll be as successful as he's been with these. I hope.
Absolutely, but that's just one aspect of it. I'm talking about all the other businesses.
Oh no, the wine and the steaks and the water and all the Trump University.
Well, those are all failed. Those are all failed things. There'll be new things now.
We're going to relaunch Trump University. That would be great if we could just relaunch that shit. No, it's. I think what you're saying is absolutely true, but this is going to be a stain across the Republican Party. And Brad, no, they're not trying to get rid of it. Donald Trump's arsenal for overturning the election will soon be down to one final desperate maneuver, pressing the Republican allies on Capitol Hill to step in and derail Joe Biden's presidency. This is an article that's come about in the past few hours from Politico. The Electoral College cast the official vote for president on December the 14th. After that, it's up to Congress to certify the results a few weeks later, and federal law does give individual members of the House and Senate the power to challenge the results from the floor, a rarely used mechanism meant to be the last of all resorts to safeguard an election. Come on, Matt Gaetz. Come on, Jim Jordan. Come on, Rand Paul. Come on, Lindsey Graham.
All right.
Let's take one as the ship is going down. As the plane is going down to the ground, I want you to take the wheel and I want you to rip it. I want you to rip the yoke right from the control board of that plane, because that's what they're going to do, Brad.
So what is it? This is like a wedding where the person holding the, if there's anyone in the audience who objects to these two people, stand up or forever hold your peace. And if one person stands up, that doesn't mean the wedding doesn't go on.
That's correct. It doesn't.
And if one person from the House of Representatives objects to the election, that's not going to stop Joe Biden from being the next president, right? I mean, in other words, one person can't stop the entire election in the House of Representatives. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way.
An obscure 1887 law called the Electoral Count Act and several subsequent updates spell out the process, settling January 6th after a presidential election as the official certification date. On that date, the House and Senate meet in a joint session at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, just 3 days after a newly constituted Congress is sworn in. One of their first orders of business is to pass judgment on the Electoral College vote. That same federal law also gives a tiny number of lawmakers enormous power to challenge the results. If a single House member and a single senator join forces, they can object to entire slates of presidential electors. They must do so in writing and provide an explanation, although there are no guidelines on how detailed it must be.
So in other words, like the QAnon chick from Florida or Georgia, wherever she's from, she does not have the ability to do that. You're talking do this, about it. It has to be someone. It has to be Kevin McCarthy or
Jim Jordan or Matt Gaetz or Lindsey Graham or Rand Paul. Or Mitch McConnell.
But even just.
If they do,
this is bullshit.
If they do, reading along, if they do, the House and Senate must retreat to their chambers and debate the outcome for up to 2 hours before voting on the matter. Each state's electors are certified separately, meaning lawmakers bent on challenging the results have multiple chances to force lengthy delays. So, Brad, the Republican Party is not trying to get away from this man, and they are, in fact, trying to show their loyalty and their love for Donald Trump, and down to the very bitter end of this on January the 6th.
Well, but the article doesn't say this is going to happen. They're saying this can happen.
Matt Gaetz has said he is looking at everything else, and they've interviewed a few other Republicans who are willing to kiss daddy's ass until the final out is recorded, Brad. So if you don't think that Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz and Rand Paul and Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell perhaps are trying to kiss this guy's ass on January the 6th, I think you're fooling yourself. A few House Democrats have previously tried and failed to challenge the GOP presidencies in 2001 and 2017 after Al Gore and Hillary Clinton won the national popular vote but lost the Electoral College. And congressional Democrats went even further in 2005 when John Kerry lost to Bush, forcing a full-fledged debate on Ohio's electoral votes before both the House and Senate voted to reject the challenge. So they've already got the door open. Oh, the Democrats set the rules for this, Brad. Now the Republicans can say that. It's the Democrats who opened the door to this. It's the Joe Biden rule, the fake Joe Biden rule. They can now invoke it because the Democrats have already done this, and now they're going to try to follow this all the way down.
All right. Well, we will mark the moment here on the Brad and Britt cast that you brought this up and put it in there into the file, because far be it from me to say, oh, this could never happen. I mean, we're way past that. A couple of phrases that you can't say anymore. And when I hear them, I want to choke people that say it. One, this could never happen. And number two, I'm shocked, but not surprised. Stop saying that when he does things like this or suggests things like this. So
kudos to the Israelis for that deal when they assassinated the Iranian head nuclear guy. Did you hear how they did this?
Well, I'm not sure whether you automatically give kudos.
It was a remote control machine gun that was mounted to a Nissan.
I understand
and then it self-destructed.
I understand that, but I'm not sure that it was the greatest idea in the world. If you're looking for a pretext to possibly have armed conflict right now so that Joe Biden gets fucked on the way in, you can laugh about the fact that the Israelis are really good at blowing people up. We know that, but that's
covering their tracks.
Yeah, their tracks aren't covered. They've all but admitted it. They're not denying it. So
they self-destructed the whole
fuck
situation.
Is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you?
They self-destructed the machine gun that was on top of the Nissan Sentra. They fire the machine gun. The guy goes out to check on it, and boom, they blow him away, and they self-destruct, just like the old Mission Impossible, which I think you're aware of. So there you are.
Why don't you move to fucking Brooklyn and join one of those Orthodox temples? And
I would love to.
Why don't you go to one of those weddings with 10,000 Jews?
I can't find
with the fucked up hats on, pretending that they have no laws that apply to them.
Well, I can't find a decent corned beef
Christ,
sandwich.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I can't find a decent corned beef sandwich around here. So is it my fault? I don't understand what you're talking about.
Wait, we have a Jewish festival every year.
Oh,
and they fly in the corned beef.
Once a year. I want a good corned beef sandwich more than once a year, pal. Oi. Rudolph Giuliani, this story, President Trump's lawyer who has led the most extensive efforts to damage his client's political rivals and undermine the election results, discussed with the president as recently as last week the possibility of receiving a preemptive pardon before Donald Trump leaves office. That's according to two people told of the discussion.
Why would you need a pardon if you haven't done anything wrong? And you know what? I read this story, and here's what I think Giuliani is trying to protect himself from. It. No, he can't be indicted for the shoe polish running down his face. That's not a crime. It's just an embarrassment.
It's never going to end. It'll never go away. It's the greatest.
But I think that we may find that just like with his scheme over there with the Ukrainian president and trying to get them to hold a press conference to say that they're investigating Joe Biden via Hunter Biden and all that crap, which is just made up stuff. I think it's possible that this time around, the election interference has come from the Rudy Giuliani wing of the Donald Trump. In other words, he helped set up the things that supposedly they're arguing in court that keep getting thrown out. The kind of things that he should have his law license suspended for just making shit up.
It's true.
And therefore, he may be open to an investigation over these issues the last few weeks. Because he wouldn't be talking about it right now if things that he had done 6 months ago or a year ago were the issue. He would have probably brought it up to Trump back then, but this is a fairly new story that he's talking about it kind of right now, right in the middle of all this, where every 3 days, he holds a quote unquote a press briefing at a Wyndham hotel on the Pennsylvania Turnpike at Breezewood. Right. And we're supposed to take it seriously, and then presents bullshit that gets laughed out of court, which, by the way, they take very, very seriously over on Fox News. If I take the bullet. I watch it enough to know that they are taking this stuff very, very seriously. Everything that he brings up, every little nuance, every little court decision.
I find that the real stinker in the Fox crowd, because you expect bullshit out of the big three in prime time, Sean and Tucker and Laura. You expect those guys to, but that showed the five. Holy shit. If anybody ever deserved to have coronavirus wipe out an entire cast, I'm sorry, but that Greg Gutfeld and Jesse Waters, holy shit.
Britt, Greg Gutfeld is the guy that we used to see at the radio conventions.
Holy shit.
Who really, he just couldn't get out of Wichita. He couldn't get a gig bigger than Wichita, right?
But he tried so hard, and he would fill in at midnight on, the 4th of July just to get a shot. It didn't matter. He would do anything on his own dime. He'd fly himself to New York or he'd fly himself to Sacramento just so he could get those 3 hours on the 4th of July or on New Year's Day. And he was that guy. And they just carry water like you would not believe. The bullshit on that show is just absolutely 100% disgusting. It's absolutely awful and dreadful. And what they settle on every day, they have this spastic thing. They've settled on the idea that, okay, the courts. You can't make those arguments to the courts, but the state legislatures. If we can get one crazy, stupid ass son of a bitch in a state legislature in Michigan or Wisconsin or Arizona or Georgia or Pennsylvania to buy this bullshit, we've got a chance. We can make it happen for the people of America. We can stop this election from being stolen. That's what they've settled on right now.
And of course they're wrong, but they may not be at one level.
Good Lord.
In that the whole idea is to just cause confusion and consternation and doubt in the system, and essentially turn the country over to Donald Trump above and beyond the electoral process. I mean, that's the whole goal, right?
Right.
Everything else is just noise. And we've chatted here about the idea that they were looking for one judge, one really corrupt judge who Trump might have thought was beholden to him because he got appointed to the courts, federal judge maybe, or even below that level, because they it's not just the federal judge, it's the next level that he appoints also.
Right.
Just looking for one, and so far really haven't found one, which actually speaks pretty well for the law schools of this country. As much as we like to beat up on lawyers and say, well, that's a Trump judge or that's an Obama judge or this judge, we finally found the line, at least among people who make it as judges in this country. And a lot of them are really questionable. A lot of them are barely fit. A lot of them have never been judges in a court of law before. Mm-hmm. Some of them have barely argued cases.
That's correct. Some of them never litigated that much.
They might have been corporate lawyers or things like that, but that didn't matter because, they were corporate lawyers for a tobacco company. So Mitch McConnell's cousin said, nominate this guy, and Trump puts him through. And they have this stamp of approval from the Federalist Society. But even apparently those judges have not come down on the side of Trump in any of these cases of note. And they've just laughed him out of court. Not just said, you're not correct, sir, but get the hell out of here. You got nothing. Good day, sir.
Yeah.
And over and over again, they keep saying that. Now, that's different than state legislators. We kind of joke about the fact that the North Carolina legislature is still made up largely of fat old white guys who own 9 car dealers in Lenore.
Exactly.
And had nothing to do. They were 67 years old and had several million in the bank.
Or they've got like 600 acres of tobacco that they've been plowing for about 60 years in a family farm.
There are still some of those people.
Absolutely.
In the legislature. It's not completely that way.
No, but there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. And that's not just North Carolina. That's still all over the country.
It happens.
A tobacco farmer. It may be another kind of farmer in Iowa, whatever.
Sure, like soybeans or sorghum or some shit.
So the chances that you would find a few of those kind of legislators willing to stand up and object and use whatever parliamentary procedures that they can to try to gum up the election, even at this late hour, there's a fairly decent chance you might find one or two. But when you pull back, it's the same argument we've been making all around our part of the world and our part of the mental universe. It doesn't matter. You can find it's not going to overturn the goddamn election. It's not going to change. And every state now, all 6 states that were on the bubble have certified.
Right.
All 6 of them.
Yeah.
All 6 of them. It's over.
Yeah.
It is over. So all this Politico story about what's going to happen in the House, it's not going to change anything.
No, but it will again further tarnish the Republican Party and keep them from ever shedding Donald Trump, the carcass of Donald Trump.
Well, I don't think you're wrong.
And I think he's going to announce I think he will announce before the inauguration day that he's running in 2024. And I say, God bless him. As much as he can campaign in Georgia, I say, get his fat ass down to Georgia. Yeah. Savannah, Atlanta, Macon, Albany, you go, boy. I'll buy you the ticket. I will head that Prius up to Washington. I will drive your fat ass, and I'll buy you the Arby's, and I'll buy you the Chick-fil-A, and I'll buy you the McDonald's.
It's been almost a month since the election, and just since that last week leading up to the election, the pitch of the curve on the coronavirus has gone straight up.
Absolutely.
And we knew before the election that Trump's rallies, and I believe there were 30 of them in the last 4 weeks.
Right.
The number, no,
just like the one that killed Herman Cain. Sure.
Right. There were a lot of them, and they've crunched the numbers, and those did become identifiably centers of spread. So here we are, a month after the election. You got two special elections, and you've got the state of Georgia, which is suffering as badly as any other state that you can name,
100%,
in the number of cases and strain on the hospitals, and lots of small towns, the ones that were never going to get it because they get it in New York and California, but we don't get it here.
We ain't gonna get it in Valdosta. We ain't gonna get it in Washington. We ain't gonna get it in Albany. We ain't gonna get it. No, we ain't gonna get it in places like that.
Right, so now it is everywhere.
Of course it is.
So as much as we can be sure, and they've run those numbers, you probably see in the article, the places where Trump did rallies, the Democratic candidates locally did better, and he did worse in the general election than the average county, just because he was there. It didn't help, is what I'm saying.
At all.
It did not help. So does he hold the same kind of outdoor, body to body, mostly no masked, super spreadathon?
You know the answer.
Georgia peach rallies even now.
You know the answer. Of course he does. He does it. He does it in places like Macon, and he does it in places like Savannah if he possibly can. Although Savannah not quite as open to his brand of thinking as he might think. But yes, places like that, and places like Gainesville, Georgia, and places like that. Yes, of course he does that. To do anything else would be to admit defeat. It would be being politically correct. He accused Laura Ingraham when she wore a mask at that one rally of being politically correct, Brad. Of course he does it shoulder to shoulder. Of course he has people spitting in each other's faces and coughing in each other's faces and infecting each other. He was encouraging people. There was a statement from the president encouraging people to gather in their places of worship on Thanksgiving, shoulder to shoulder. And they were trumpeting that Supreme Court decision so much that, in that New York Supreme Court decision that reaffirmed that the First Amendment, the right of religious people to gather and worship as they wish, must be. Neil Gorsuch taking great glee to say that in times of crisis, we cannot suspend the First Amendment. That's exactly what
we're not suspending the First. You know what that decision reminds me of?
What is it?
And Gorsuch just strutting and
God, he loves it.
The cheap talk radio point that, well, liquor stores are open, but Jesus, I can't go to church.
So right? Stupid.
As if you stay in a liquor store for an hour and scream your head off with 20 other people passing a virus around. It doesn't matter what kind of a store it is. But it reminds me of the people who talk about school prayer in that perverted way, in saying that the United States has outlawed school prayer, and if we could just get that back, everything would be okay.
That's right. Yeah.
And of course, the answer is school prayer has not been outlawed. You can pray all you want in school. You just can't have an agent of the government, that's a teacher paid by tax dollars, leading a prayer in an involuntary way where you are shunned, or you are told, if you don't like that prayer, leave the room. And therefore, everyone can privately pray all they want. You can have a prayer circle. They've ruled on this.
You're damn right.
The kids can do a prayer thing outside, but it cannot be led.
They still have a group called Fellowship of Christian Athletes all over high schools across the United States.
Right. And to me, this is the same idea, except it's kind of even more stark, because if you are not allowed to consider the public health ramifications of large gatherings of people where if they do not occur, the person is not harmed. And yes, you can get coronavirus going to Walmart or going to a grocery store. There's no doubt about it. I'm sure some people have. Maybe I've gotten it. I don't know. I go to stores. I try to be careful. I try not to go at crowded times of the day. But I have to do that to be able to live. I have to have food. I have to survive. But I could pray my head off all day long to my God. I could have a one-to-one conversation with God all the time, and no government could, would, or should ever be able to stop me. But gathering in a large building where the virus is much more likely to move around,
to propagate, absolutely,
and to have the court step in and say that that's an abridgment of people's First Amendment rights, I think is just wrong.
Well, I'll take the Neil Gorsuch challenge. There is a vested interest in the state having liquor stores and other stores open to collect tax revenue. I know it's terribly selfish to try to
say that. He'd never say that.
I'll go ahead and say that. I'll give him that in order to pay people like firefighters and people like policemen and people like teachers. I also think there's a vested interest for some of those churches to open their doors so they can get some of that money. If you want to go down that road, let's go down that road, Justice Gorsuch. I'll go all the way with you on that. And some of the churches are hurting right now because they can't grab that money from some of those parishioners, and that's why they want to fucking open the doors. So if you want to go there, let's go there. I do want to discuss this before we get out of here. I don't know if you saw this piece that was yesterday in the New York Times by this German historian named Jochen Bittner. Did you see this piece about just after World War I in Germany?
Oh yeah, it's the stab in the back.
I can't pronounce the German word for it, but this is what after World War I, there was a great campaign in Germany to say we never lost the war on the field. We never did. It was the liberals and the Jews, underline the Jews that stabbed us in the back, made us sign the surrender paper, and we are undefeated on the field of battle. And damn those Jews! And my God, we need to make Germany great again. Oh, did I say that? Oh shit! I'm sorry, I didn't. But that's what they say, and he is comparing that to Donald Trump saying, "I never lost the election. I am undefeated. I am the greatest of all time." And so he is kind of drawing a parallel between the after World War I action in Germany, which eventually led to the rise of Adolf Hitler, right?
Right. Well, he does go out of his way to say,
right,
explicitly, Donald Trump is not Hitler.
No, he's not. No, he's much dumber than Hitler. Hitler never had Hitler University and Hitler wine.
Right. I suggest you go watch these 4 shows. The 4th show is this week on public television called "The Rise of Adolf Hitler."
Okay,
and it just covers the years from 1931 to 36 or 37. And it includes a lot of what he was writing about and how Hitler exploited it. But I swear to you, what I got out of the show, that they haven't shown the 4th one yet, but what I've gotten out of the show so far is that Hitler faced more opposition in Germany in those first few years than Donald Trump ever has from the Republican Party. Hitler had, listen, this is terrible, but that's what I got out of it. Okay. You watch it. You tell me.
I'll see.
That he had more plots against him, and he had more plots against the Nazi Party. And there were a lot of really, really smart people in Germany, like there are a lot of smart Republicans, but the difference is those people were trying to take actions to stop Hitler.
Wow.
At least they tried. As
opposed to being an apologist for Donald Trump, the way the Republicans are here. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, I got you.
So we're in a bad place right now, and I'm really glad that you brought up this idea that the last hurdle is when is that? January 3rd, you said?
January 6th, I believe, is when
after the new Congress is in there.
Exactly.
Right.
And they swear him in it. Yeah.
Right. So some of the that QAnon crackpot from Florida, she'll be in there, right?
It's not.
And the other nut from Georgia, those two will be in there.
You'll have a decision. I mean, Lindsey Graham will have to have a decision if he's going to use his very last breath that he possibly can to try to again, be a Donald Trump apologist. I'm sure Rand Paul's going to do it. Rand Paul's turned into a complete son of a bitch. That Blunt guy that you were talking, I don't even know if John Cornyn at this point, I think even he has kind of pulled the ripcord on this shit, hasn't he?
No, he hasn't. Oh,
okay.
No, he's the worst.
What about John Kennedy from Louisiana? Is he going to jump in there and he's going to be another apologist?
I haven't seen him lately, but Cornyn is just horrible.
He's on board. We'll see if Ted Cruz will make one last stand for the guy that called his wife ugly and said that his dad helped kill John Kennedy. Not the guy from Louisiana, but the guy who died in 1963. But no, we'll see again if these people decide to take this very last stand on that hill for their boy on January the 6th. But we are 50 days away from this national nightmare being over, Brett.
And the next one beginning.
Oh, no.
Yeah.